So it is that time of the year, transfer season, and Nottingham Forest, always a hectic time. Nothing's actually happened so far in the transfer window in terms of incomings and very little outgoings as well, but there are plenty and plenty of rumours. As the summer goes on, I'll be doing this video weekly, bringing you actual transfer dealings, but I've got to go into some of these rumours because they are some really interesting players being linked with Forest. Please everyone, make sure you do hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers. Please just do me a favour and hit that subscribe button. It would mean a huge amount to get there. Just, you know, do it so I can stop saying it, innit? I'm going to start with transfers out because there's not actually many of them to talk about because most of it is rumours in. And unlike my video last week, which is still a remarkable video, 8 free agents Nottingham Forest could sign, go watch it. All of this is actually fact because we are being linked with these players in some capacity. Starting off with Brennan Johnson. This is a rumour, unfortunately, that I've got to be talking about. I don't see him leaving, especially for £30 million. That is nowhere near the level of valuation that Forest have him at, and I think 90% of our fan base would want more than that. If you look at all the goals he scored the last few seasons, would we be in the Premier League? Would we stay in the Premier League last season without Brennan's goals? I don't think so. For me, I think we need to be aiming for at least 50 million. But personally, for me, he should stay at the club for another year, and then maybe, if there's more serious interest, we can talk about it again. And then maybe it might be more logical to sell him. But right now, I just don't think it's right for him or for Forest. Jonathan Panzo is being linked with the move to Rangers. 2.5 million is the reported fee. On loan last year at Coventry, did fairly well for them. So I could see him leaving, to be honest. I don't see him getting into the Forest team at all, or even really getting any chances in pre-season. I think he'll be gone pretty soon. And of course it is reported that Ginger Shelvey, Steve Cook, Romo Freuler, Sam Surridge and Emmanuel Dennis are all up for sale. At the very least, we will accept bids for any of them. And all of them, I wouldn't be too worried if they left in terms of football. I'd be sad sentimentally about Cook and Surridge, promotion heroes of course. Shelvey, the less said about him the better. Freuler, he's clearly a good player, but he just doesn't suit Forest for whatever reason. It's not worked for him. Overall, Emmanuel Dennis, I wouldn't mind him staying, but at the same time I wouldn't mind if he left. Let's just say that. So let's start with Dean Henderson. I don't think we know too much about this guy, do we? This guy is Nottingham Forest. He really was bought into the club, and that's exactly why I want him to come back. And that's exactly why Forest want to bring him back for a rumoured fee of £20 million. I think it's a no-brainer. Every area of a team is vital. You can't have a team with a bad left-back or a poor midfield or a poor attack because you're going to suffer in some way. But goalkeeper is arguably one of the most important areas of the team because it is the last man of defence. You've got to have a good goalkeeper. So I think it would be worth paying a bit more for a goalkeeper to get that position sorted out. Obviously, it is kind of being hindered now on the David De Gea situation at Man United. He apparently is not going to be signing a new contract. It's still very much up in the air whether he will be staying at Old Trafford. Obviously, United aren't going to let him go, Henderson that is, if they haven't got a goalkeeper. I'm sure United are going to sign a goalkeeper, but until they do, I don't see Henderson being sold, and that is a bit of a worry. But let's just cross fingers that it does happen. Unfortunately, Renan Lodi, another player that used to be at Nottingham Forest last season, he probably won't be coming back to the club as it stands. It's not entirely impossible, and I'm not too shocked. I think there was always a good chance that one of these wouldn't come back to the club, and it was always more likely that Henderson would be the most likely to come back. Again, Lodi would also cost potentially even less than 20 million, which is a bargain. That is less than what Atletico Madrid initially said Forest would have to pay to get Lodi into the club. But it appears that it's more personal matters with Renan Lodi. Does he want to stay at Forest, a place where he's loved and he established himself this season just gone, or does he want to better himself? Because ultimately, going to a Champions League club, it is going to better his career, and you can't really blame him for going there. There's also rumours that he'd go and play in Brazil again, where his family is. Personally, I don't see that happening. Benfica and in the past, to a degree, Juventus were linked with Lodi. Let's start from top to bottom of the football pitch, starting with players that we are linked with in attack. Starting off with Carlos Borges. This lad is only 19, never played senior football, which is a bit of a concern. But when you look at his youth stats, it's pretty frightening. He is incredibly quick and physical. A left winger, years now, he's been banging in goals left, right and centre in the youth league. And if he can do it to that extent, I do have belief that he could step up and do it in senior football. Maybe it'd be one for the future, but if you're going to pay £11 million for him potentially, then I see it being maybe a bit more than that. Tyler Adams, he could be an excellent option. A bright spark in a very bad Leeds United team, especially in the second half of last season. An international with the USA, went to the World Cup. I think this would be a great signing. Unfortunately, the reason why I worry that it won't happen is the cost. Leeds United, as you would expect, are demanding £40 million for Tyler Adams. That for me is way too much. I do not see Forest paying £40 million. You look at Southampton demanding £40-50 million for Lavia and Ward-Prowse. When you get relegated, you're going to do that for your best players. Madison is another example. Adams is in Leeds' case. I just don't see us paying that much. If we can get it down, I've actually seen some people say, let's do a swap deal. Tyler Adams for Lewis O'Brien. I personally think that would be an excellent deal. Whether it happens or not is another question. Another midfielder is Batista Mendy. One you probably haven't heard of, and I'll be honest, I don't know that much about either, but based off these stats, he does sound like a pretty useful player to have, but also at the same time, not exactly a huge upgrade on what we've got currently. But he would be an upgrade on the bench players. £5 million is the asking price. He's just been relegated from Ligue 1, which isn't a good look. He played 35 of their 36 games in Ligue 1. I can't pronounce the name of the club. Angus Beef, no. I can't believe they actually made that joke. It's really bad from me, that. He made 2.20 tackles per game, more than Ryan Yates and Owen Mangala, and he had an 86.2% pass accuracy. Thank you very much, Jay, for those stats. Wolves and Everton are also interested in the defensive midfielder, so I personally think it isn't too much of a risk when you look at other Premier League clubs being linked with him of a similar level to us as well. So I think it would be a decent option based off the price, the fact that he clearly is an upgrade on certain players in our midfield, only not so much the starting midfield. So moving down the pitch to the defence, Carlos Augusto. This is definitely one we need to talk about. Linked with us for the last couple of weeks from Monza in Italy, a club that our owner Evangelos Marinakis has recently bought. Only Marinakis would buy an entire club just to make negotiations for one player at that club easier, so he can sign them to his other club. Mainly a left wing back, but he even played at centre back a handful of times last season for Monza and captained the side once last season too. Inter Milan are also interested, one of the biggest teams in Italy and in Europe, so he could very well go there, but would he be guaranteed game time? Who knows? If he comes to Forest, he certainly would be. 24 years of age, by the way, so this would be probably quite a safe player to sign. Probably wouldn't cost too much money. We're not too sure how much it would be, but I'll be intrigued to see how this one goes, whether we hear more information about whether it's going to happen or not. Now this one, I do have quite a bit of interest in this. Kostanios Mavropanos. I've said that somewhat correctly. Stuttgart centre-back, ex-Arsenal centre-back is probably where most of you will know him, if at all. He didn't play much for the Gunners. I remember him joining them several seasons ago. He didn't particularly play that much. And since then, he has of course been sold by Arsenal to Stuttgart, and he's really become a regular for them in the Bundesliga. Apparently £12.75 million would be enough to try and get this guy in at Nottingham Forest. Apparently Forest want to try and go a bit lower than that. I wouldn't be against this. He's quite a tall centre-back, 6'3". He's won 68% of his aerial duels, also with 4.72 progressive passes per 90, and that is a very important stat because he's got more progressive passes per 90 than any of our other centre-backs in the whole of last season. And progressive passes, of course, is getting a ball at the pitch. We need to be a bit more forward thinking at times next season. That could be a very good asset. Nikola Zalioski. I may have butchered that slightly. Roma left wing back. Yes, David, you totally messed that up because it's actually Nikola Zaleski. Where the hell is the O? Why did I say Oski? 21 years of age. Roma apparently wants 17 million for this guy. He's played 11 times for the Polish national team, and I say he's a left wing back. He can play pretty much anywhere. If you look at the positions where he's played in his career, and he's only 21 by the way, like I say, I just think I ought to reiterate that when you look at how many positions he's even played in midfield at times, on the right hand side. So this could be a very, very useful player, a player that can just fit in most areas of the pitch. I'll be keen to see this one happen. I don't know whether I'd want this or Augusto to happen, but obviously, unsurprisingly, we are being linked with multiple left backs here. So that's my transfer roundup. There's so much to discuss in it. I hope I covered most of it. There's some players we have been linked with that I didn't mention. There's just that many of them. We haven't actually seen anyone come in yet, so a lot of it is just paper talk probably, but the more we actually start to see rumours becoming more serious and players actually coming into the club, then I'll certainly do these videos each and every week. So stay tuned for all that. Plenty of transfer news coming up on the channel over the summer, and I'll see you soon everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Up the Reds.